все ее участники, те, кто на передовой, на линии боевого соприкосновения, это наши герои.
3 days, 3 events, 3 warnings, and an order to start nuclear drills. It's been 3 days since Vladimir Putin officially took oath as Russia's president for the 5th time, and he is making sure that the West remains on his target every time he addresses his people. Tensions between the West and President Putin are at an all-time high, with reports of some Western nations considering sending troops into Ukraine. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has taken a firm stance against any Western support for Ukraine. President Putin has just begun his 5th term of leadership in Russia, solidifying his command over the world's largest country, and in a series of assertive moves, Putin has issued stern warnings, signaling his anger against West more than clear. Vladimir Putin's first warning came precisely from the moment he took the oath as Russian president. Putin made it clear that Russia seeks having dialogue with West, but not from a position of weakness. His message to the West underscores the choice between cooperation or perpetuating a policy of aggression.
We have been and will be open to strengthening good relations with all countries that see Russia as a reliable and honest partner, and this is truly the global majority. We do not refuse dialogue with Western states. The choice is theirs. Do they intend to continue trying to restrain the development of Russia, continue the policy of aggression, continuous pressure on our country for years, or look for a path to cooperation and peace? I repeat, a conversation, including on issues of security and strategic stability, is possible, but not from a position of strength.
Warning number 2 was issued during the Victory Day Parade, an annual event where Russia showcases its military might to the world. This carefully orchestrated display serves not only as a demonstration, but also as a warning of Russia's formidable capabilities. Addressing the nation from Moscow's iconic Red Square during the Victory Parade, Putin subtly conveyed Russia's preparedness to deter global confrontations and safeguard its sovereignty through its strategic forces. His remarks underscored Russia's unwavering commitment to strategic readiness.
We reject the claims of any state or alliance to exclusivity. We know where the exorbitance of such ambitions leads. Russia will do everything to prevent a global clash, but at the same time we will not allow anyone to threaten us. Our strategic forces are always on alert.
Military analysts contend that Putin's assertion of the readiness of the strategic forces is yet another warning to the West regarding Russia's nuclear preparedness. This comes in the wake of Putin's official order for the Russian army to commence nuclear drills. In the same breath, Putin hailed the troops fighting in Ukraine for their courage and blasted the West, accusing it of fueling regional conflicts, inter-ethnic and inter-religious strife, and trying to contain sovereign and independent centers of global development, also calling them Western elites.
Revanchism, mockery of history, and the desire to justify the current followers of the Nazis are part of the general policy of Western elites to foment more and more regional conflicts, inter-ethnic and inter-religious hostility, and to contain sovereign, independent centers of world development.
Then later in the same day, in a recent meeting with Russian military officers following the Victory Day celebration, Putin reiterated concerns about West's intentions, stating that the West does not want Russia to exist in its current form.
We know, and you know this better than anyone else, that the enemy has enough of these modern military means because the entire Western community is working for our enemy, which is taken with the idea that Russia in its current form no longer exists. They set themselves this goal.
These warnings from Russia has also stirred counter-countries into action. In response to the escalating tensions, the European Union made a critical decision to use frozen Russian assets. The EU member states reached an agreement to use frozen Russian assets in the bloc to be used in funding Ukraine with military aid. This move will make almost $3.2 billion available for EU states to help Ukraine with arms and humanitarian aid. This landmark decision, announced by Belgium, which holds a significant portion of these assets, marks a significant step forward after weeks of arduous negotiations. The timing of the EU's recent move is likely to anger Russia. This comes just days after Russian President Vladimir Putin struck a conciliatory tone with the West, expressing his willingness to engage in dialogue, but not when it comes from a position of power. Belgium, who has long advocated for utilizing the interest accrued from these funds for Ukraine's reconstruction efforts, has now expanded its scope to cover military expenditures as well. This deal is anticipated to allocate up to €3 billion or $3.2 billion annually for Kyiv, with the majority earmarked for military equipment and ammunition. Belgian Prime Minister Alexander De Croo has pledged to direct approximately €1.5 billion or $1.61 billion to Ukraine. This commitment is not a new policy, but rather the result of applying existing corporate tax law to unexpected windfall gains. These gains were made by the country's largest financial service provider, Euroclear, which benefited from having frozen Russian central bank assets on its books. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen previously suggested Ukraine could receive the first funds under the mechanism by July. Furthermore, the EU is seeking to implement stringent measures targeting various sectors critical to Russia's economy, such as LNG. The move seeks to prohibit EU facilities from providing reloading services for Russian LNG transshipment to third countries and bans new investments and provisions of goods, technology, and services for ongoing LNG projects like Arctic LNG and Murmansk LNG. This has certainly become a high time for Europe. On one hand, Vladimir Putin has further solidified his control over Russia, and on the other, the group of 27 European nations are aiming for one after the other sanctions. The to and fro game continues.